All right, welcome to this executive explainer. If you're a C-suite leader, a CISO, or an enterprise security decision maker, consider this an urgent, absolute must-do update to your threat models today. Look, we have officially entered a whole new era of AI-enabled cybercrime, and the defensive posture that probably kept your organization completely safe back in 2023, well, as of May 2026, it is structurally obsolete. Today, we're breaking down the operational reality of this new attacker ecosystem, which is really being spearheaded by collectives like Shiny Hunters, and we're detailing the exact tactical pivot you need to make to defend your enterprise right now. Okay, let's dive into this. The bottom line up front is a devastating financial and operational dashboard that we are seeing right now. We aren't dealing with theoretical risks anymore. We are seeing extortion demands literally scaling into the tens of millions, like that $65 million demand in the TELUS case. We're talking data exfiltration at an unfathomable scale, like 1.5 billion records extracted via Salesforce SaaS integrations. And the blast radius, it's incredible. A single supply chain compromise is cascading downstream, hitting over 9,000 educational institutions in the Canvas breach alone. But you know what the most terrifying metric here is? Attack speed. From the moment of initial compromise to full data exfiltration, the clock is running at under 1 hour. So here is our briefing itinerary. We'll be covering the platform economy of modern cybercrime, the sheer industrial scale of AI vishing, how to shift your risk directly to the identity layer, the policy gaps we're facing, and finally, your strategic timeline for 2027. Let's get straight to it. Section 1, the platform economy of cybercrime, extortion as a service. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why we have to rethink everything. To defeat this massive new threat, we absolutely have to understand their modern business model. For years, the security industry organized its defenses around the traditional APT, the Advanced Persistent Threat Framework. We pictured these highly sophisticated state actors with custom malware hunting for military intelligence over a multi-year campaign. But this new criminal collective, embodied by groups like Shiny Hunters, flips that entirely on its head. They are financially motivated. Their targeting isn't narrow at all, it's mass and it's opportunistic. They've hit over 400 organizations since 2020 alone. They aren't building custom exploits. They're literally just using commodity AI and rented infrastructure. And they definitely don't care about long-term persistence. They care about fast monetization. So CISOs, if you're still building threat models based on that old APT framework, you're basically defending against ghosts. Because the reality is, the new attackers are operating a business, more specifically, a platform economy. You really have to think of Shiny Hunters less like a traditional hacker gang and more like a highly efficient modern SaaS franchise. They run an extortion as a service business model. They actually offer a 25 to 30% affiliate revenue share. They provide the infrastructure, the negotiation accounts, the extortion platforms, the whole shebang, while the affiliates do the groundwork. They're layering revenue from direct extortion demands, bulk data sales bringing in up to $1 million per company, and they even charge administrative fees on their breach forums. It is a highly optimized, multi-revenue stream operation scaling entirely through a decentralized criminal community known as the Calm. Section 2, AI vishing at industrial scale. Automation beats human triage. To truly grasp this operational scale, we need to look at the exact technical innovation driving it, and that is attack velocity. Walk through this 45-minute timeline with me. At minute 1, an attacker uses an AI voice clone to call your IT help desk. Thanks to models like Microsoft VALE, they literally only need 3 seconds of public audio from a podcast or a LinkedIn video to perfectly mimic your CTO or a key employee. By minute 15, the helpful IT worker is bypassed, and real-time MFA credentials are intercepted using a victim-branded single sign-on phishing site. By minute 30, the attacker has successfully enrolled their own rogue device directly into your identity provider. And by minute 45, the automated, PowerShell-based data exfiltration from your SharePoint and SaaS platforms is completely finished. 45 minutes, a human security operations center cannot triage an alert, investigate, and respond fast enough to stop an attack that starts and finishes in under an hour. Which brings us to this sobering realization from the 2026 RSA conference. Quote, AI alone produces volume. Humans alone cannot keep pace. End quote. Listen, if your enterprise is relying solely on human SOC operations, you are quite literally operating in a completely different, much slower speed regime than your attackers. They're using AI to run thousands of flawlessly conversational, contextually accurate phishing calls every single day. Humans alone simply cannot win a foot race against industrial automation. So, the crucial point is, how do we stop this? Section 3, shift risk to identity, hardening the true perimeter. We have to immediately pivot our tactical defense and shift our risk management away from the traditional network perimeter directly to the identity layer. Here are the exact, non-negotiable steps every enterprise must take today. First, you've got to audit and completely deprecate legacy SMS and push-based multi-factor authentication. They are essentially useless against real-time AI vishing. Second, transition immediately to phishing-resistant security, things like FIDO2 security keys, passkeys, or Windows Hello. If an attacker intercepts a password, the hardware key stops them cold. And third, and honestly this is often the biggest cultural hurdle, you have to remove helpfulness from your IT support desk. You must mandate live visual video verification and multi-person approvals for all authentication and MFA resets. No exceptions. Now, in addition to those controls, you need absolute visibility. Without it, detection is structurally impossible. There are 3 specific critical identity provider audit logs you must be aggressively ingesting into your CM right now. Number 1, authentication events, both successful and failed. Number 2, MFA lifecycle events, especially device enrollments or changes. Remember that 30-minute mark on our timeline where the rogue device was added? You need an alert the very second that happens. And number 3, administrative identity events. These 3 logs are the absolute first reliable signals your enterprise will get when an AI vishing campaign targets your perimeter. I really want to linger on this reality for a moment. IT help desks are the primary attack surface today. Attackers aren't out there throwing 0 days at your firewall. They are just calling your frontline support staff. Why? Well, because help desks exist to help. Their entire service-oriented design makes them inherently vulnerable to social engineering. The attacker sounds exactly like an executive. They perfectly reference internal projects that were scraped by AI recon bots, and they create this intense, false sense of urgency. The help desk worker is literally just trying to do their job well, and in doing so, hands over the keys to the kingdom. Section 4. Policy and enforcement gaps. A broken global response. Let's zoom out from the tactical enterprise defense for a second and look at the macro systemic issues. It really forces us to ask a rather frustrating question. If law enforcement agencies have been making these high-profile arrests of cybercriminals across France, Morocco, the US, and elsewhere over the last few years, why on earth are the operations of groups like Shiny Hunters continuing completely uninterrupted? Well, the answer is a fundamental mismatch between traditional law enforcement and modern cybercrime. Current legal frameworks, like RICO in the US, were built to take down hierarchical organizations like the mafia. They target the boss, the underboss, specific individuals. But these new criminal collectives aren't hierarchies. They are decentralized, loose professional communities. When an arrest happens, it usually just hits a form administrator, while the core AI capability developers and the affiliates just keep working and easily replace them. Furthermore, international evidence requests through MLAT processes literally take months to execute. Remember our timeline? The attacks take under an hour. The justice system is just completely outpaced by the operational tempo of the crime. And until policymakers step up, defenders are operating at a massive disadvantage. We are facing severe policy gaps globally. Right now, there are no meaningful AI export controls restricting the proliferation of these indistinguishable voice cloning models. Even worse, there are no strictly mandatory phishing-resistant MFA regulations in critical sectors like finance or healthcare. Current guidelines just treat it as, recommended. Until we actually coordinate strict export controls and elevate identity security mandates, enterprises are basically fighting an industrial threat with one hand tied behind their backs. Let's move to and see how this builds toward the immediate future. Section 5, the 2027 Strategic Timeline, AI versus AI Speed. I want to leave you with a provocative question that absolutely every security leader needs to answer today. Will your enterprise operate at AI versus AI speed by 2027, or will you remain part of the structural attack surface? The collectives executing these extortion-as-a-service playbooks are not slowing down. They are accelerating. Every enterprise that invests in phishing-resistant MFA, SaaS observability, and AI-augmented SOC capabilities removes itself from being the next massive operational casualty. If you don't update your infrastructure, your legacy systems will simply be overrun by the sheer volume and speed of automated AI crime. The choice is yours and the clock is ticking. Thank you so much for joining this explainer.